Check, 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 check.
And if I'd like to talk too, I'll say normal words instead of check, check. All right, so I think I have the main points down. Say that I agree with you. I need to be tidier. How much do I get paid again? I need the cash.
Hey everyone.
Hi.
If you're new here, I'm John.
And I'm Margaret.
And welcome to our YouTube channel. Wait for the plane.
The plane is really a great accent noise. But that's okay. It's going to be a great video anyway. Maybe the best.
So we're outside today, so you might hear some strange noises as we go through this. There's a guy pressure washing across the street. And we live nearby an airport, so there'll be planes that fly by, cars, because we live behind our house is a big busy street. So this is a series that I've been wanting to start for a while, but we just haven't been able to get together and do it. So today we're going to talk about some of the relationship compromises that we've had to learn in our relationship.
We're still learning.
Yep. And the one in particular is cleaning and organization. And you will find out that we have very opposite end of how we look at these things.
It's all in the perspective of your view. And obviously, I can tell that my view is correct because I have the correct perspective of my view. It's simple, really is.
So to start this episode off, we're gonna go through and talk a little bit about our past, about how did we become who we are today. To be honest, growing up, I wasn't always the neatest person. You know, my parents always told me when I leave for school in the morning, everything has to be off the floor. When I moved to college, things actually got a little worse since I was running and gunning all the time, classes, jobs, and all that. So, and I lived with 3 other guys, so we didn't ever clean much.
So a little worse is putting it mildly, just saying.
And so it was not the cleanest. And I'll admit it, I live with 3 other guys and a dog. But then when I moved home for my master's degree, things really taken a change for the better. My mom's somewhat OCD and she always wants things done, cleaned up, and put away as soon as it's done. For example, if dinner's done, we're gonna clean up after dinner. We don't just let it sit there. I had my room cleaned once a week. So I liked it that way, and that's what changed me after living at home for another 3 or 4 years.
Just to clarify, he didn't clean his room once a week. It was cleaned for him.
Yep.
And he liked it.
And I liked it. So that's how I became who I am today. Today, I prefer for things to be cleaned, put up, neat and organized all the time. After we're done with dinner, we're gonna clean up our dishes. After we're done playing with our board games, we're gonna put it up. And after we're done exercising, we're gonna put our exercise equipment up. And here's Margaret to tell you about how she got to where she is.
Well, growing up, I had the philosophy that you clean up when it's messy. Pretty simple. So, you know, you live life, and then when your room got to that point, then you knew you needed to have cleanup day and clean up your room. And that's just how I was. And I was actually really good at doing it before I was asked to, because I didn't like being told to clean up my room. Now granted, I did not keep it clean all the time. Admit it. 100% did not keep it clean all the time. But I did like to clean it up before my mother or older sisters told me it needed to be cleaned up, as opposed to my other sisters who could be told, you know, 5 or 6 times and then they cleaned it up. So I did have that going for me. I liked to do things before I was asked. But I definitely would let it get messy, and then I would have cleanup day and I'd clean everything up, vacuum the floors, and then it was all clean, and then you would start fresh. And you'd mess it up again for another week or 2. And in all honesty, that really didn't change much through high school and college. Not really. When I moved out and was living in Birmingham, I was better. A little bit. Hey, So in general, growing up, I was a faithfully, without a shadow of doubt, get everything neat and tidy in my room, usually once every 2 to 3 weeks. I liked having it all clean and tidy. It was just keeping it that way was the challenging part. I had a great appreciation for organized drawers, a freshly vacuumed carpet.
So I think the biggest difference here is she cleans up once every 3 weeks.
And then I mess up.
My philosophy is if you clean up as you go, you don't ever have to clean up every 3 weeks.
Which is a perfectly fine philosophy to have, make no doubt. His is the better way. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, his is the better way. However, I tend to look at it also as wanting to redeem the time and make the most out of life. And so growing up, if I had the option between going and playing, having quality family time, or reorganizing my closet, I was obviously going to choose the quality family time because family first, folks, right? So we used to all go out in the evenings and exercise and ride bikes or play badminton or play chase, and those were all quality family times. And if the room comes second, but hey, so that's the difference. Past difference.
The next part is, which is what we kind of had a learning curve for each other, is our expectations after we got married. It definitely was a learning curve for both Margaret and I. As I mentioned, I would like for things to be neat and orderly and cleaned all the time, just like how my mom had her house and I was used to that. Margaret, on the other hand, not so much. She didn't like things clean or neat or organized.
That wasn't agreed upon. That's rude. So here's the deal. 7 times out of 10, everything is picked up, cleaned up right when it should be. The differences that he's talking about. No. But hear me out. Hear me out. The differences that he's talking about are as follows. I get done reading a book on the couch, and I get up and I've got to go run errands. That book is probably going to stay on the couch. Now, he might prefer for that book to be put back on the shelf where it belongs. But in all reality, does a book left on the couch mean you have a messy house? No. There's a difference between a messy house and always having everything put into its place. So I prefer the non-messy house, but not always everything in its place.
Yeah, but that sounds simple when you have a book on the couch, a board game on the floor, workout equipment's in the workout room.
Now, definitely everything
shoes
can't be
in the kitchen.
Now,
mask on the desk, pens on the coffee stand.
Now
it adds up.
I never said I left them all out at one time.
Yeah. That's the other thing I learned is she hides stuff in her car. Stuff that I want to get rid of and she doesn't want to. She just put it in the back of her car and I don't see it until I see it. So here are some examples of our differences. How we like things organized. I like things to be put up. So Margaret has learned to compromise that she will put a lot of things up if she knows I'm coming home from work. She put a lot of things up. And then on the other hand, I learned that sometimes it's okay to leave some things out. And I don't fuss about it for a couple days. And if it's there for 2 or 3 days, then I'll politely remind her, hey honey, that has been left out for 3 weeks.
You got your weeks and your days mixed up, dear.
Dishes after dinner is another example. I want to go on and clean the pots, the pans, put everything in the dishwasher loaded, and just so the sink is clean. I think Margaret is okay with leaving in there overnight to the next day or whatever.
If we eat dinner late, sometimes.
So she learns to go on and do it some nights, and I learn to let it go some nights.
He's going to put up the pictures. Here are a few examples of things that I probably would not have done on my own, not free will. I would not have maybe come up with all by myself to do. But that once I did, I really liked the outcome, and they've actually stayed this way for quite a while. Here are some pictures. As you can see, I have made
Progress.
some real progress. And
Into the ways of the light.
it honestly never would have occurred to me to have everything in the pantry in organized little baskets all lined up and pretty. But do I like it that way? Yes, I do.
Here's the example of one side of the pantry where it's neat and organized, and then the other side of the pantry where it's not. And you can tell from this that I've learned to let it go. As long as I don't see it, I let it go. Stuff in the living room is another example. I've learned to let something sit a little longer, and Margaret learns to pick it up as we're done. True or false?
True.
You pick up the board game this morning. I would have preferred it it's picked up last night.
I didn't see it last night.
I know. I know.
Okay, but the other thing is here, I'm sidetracked. He's not always, and I know this is going to be a big shock, honey, so brace yourself. But we are not always perfect, and I know that's so hard to hear. But every once in a while, there is this thing called science projects that I find in his office. And this coffee will be in these mugs, and he has had up to 3 mugs lined up before, which I'm guessing represents 3 days. But it is one of the few things that he does not always pick up right away. That and his shoes. The man leaves his shoes everywhere. It's just a fact, folks. Just a fact. Now, I do too, but the shoes and the coffee cups are 2 of the rare things that are not always picked up. And I honestly wish I had more examples for you, but sadly, I don't. Those are really the only 2 things I can pick on him for.
So we got rid of the pressure washer. Now we have the weed eater back here. It's almost would be better the next time we do this when it's storming.
Sit down.
I want to see who it is.
John, you know who it is.
Hey, hey.
He's literally standing up. He looks like a peeping Tom over somebody's backyard.
Now, some of you might wonder, which Margaret has asked me before, why don't I clean up after her? And there are a couple of reasons, and I'm being serious. One reason is probably because I grew up on my own, and I believe in cleaning up my own mess. 2, it could be like a project where I don't know if she's working on it or not, though I do believe that you need to put up your stuff anyway. And 3, really, I'm trying to get us both, and
They probably can't even hear it.
I'm trying to get us both,
He's our neighbor.
yeah, weed eating his own backyard.
How dare he? If he wasn't, you'd be watching a video on why our neighbors don't take care of their yards. So it's hard to please them. How dare they at 2 o'clock in the afternoon be out doing yard work?
That's what I'm saying. On a Wednesday, why are they not at work? But anyway, we need to hurry up because he'll probably run the lawnmower next.
My face hurts from smiling.
And lastly, I want us to get into practice of getting used to cleaning up and picking up. So when we have a child, we'll be used to it already and we can train the child that way. The last part of this video is what are our expectations for the future once we have a child?
We're 2 or 3 or 4 or
Yeah.
5 or 6 or 7.
No.
I have to cap it off at 8. I don't think I can do that.
Yeah, I'm capping it off at 2.
Very funny. Children are the greatest little blessing. They are cute. They smile. They entertain you. They provide a great amount of pleasure and work and
That has nothing to do with cleaning.
efforts. No, I'm talking about the praises of them before we talk about the downsides of children.
Oh.
The downsides of children are that they're messy little tykes, and they have grimy little hands, and they touch your clothes, and they spit up on you, and they throw up on you, and they make things that really stink. However, they do bring a whole different dynamic to your household. Laundry increases dramatically, And with laundry comes folding it right away, putting it up in the drawers, keeping the drawers tidy. There are toys everywhere. I mean, even from when they're little and it's baby rattles to when they're older and it's Legos. They just bring a whole different dynamic to a household. And of course, that's normal, and that's good. It has been something we've talked about because for me, having grown up with a whole house full of children and having babysat since I was 12, it's a normal part of living to, go into a house, whether it's my own or a babysitting, and see, dishes in the sink and see toys all over the place. For him, of course, he would prefer for everything to be more played with and then picked up and put away right away. Some of the things that we've talked about having to work around and work with each other on are how are we going to handle messes made by children. I'll go first, then I'll let him talk. I do believe that children should be taught to be responsible for their toys, for their clothes. I think they need to have a respect and appreciation for all of those things. When they're little, they shouldn't rip up books. They need to take care of them. I fully agree that they need to learn to pick up their toys when they're done with them. 1 Corinthians 14:40, which is in the Bible, says, let everything be done decently and in order. And I think that applies to the household. I think that, we should try and have organization in our homes. I think that's just part of making the most out of what the Lord has given you, whether that's possessions or whether it's just your house in general. I think you need to take care of it. Where I think we may differ a little bit is, if I'm having quality playtime up until nap time, and I know they're super tired or we're about to go and do something fun and we're running late or something like that, I am much more inclined to be the parent that leaves a mess on the floor. Totally admit it. Probably will need to work on that some, but I think I will be the much more relaxed parent on that. When they're old enough to make their beds, I think they need to make their beds. When they're sick, I'm going to be much more likely to skip the bed making because they're probably going to be getting in and out of it during the day. I don't know, those are just some of my thoughts.
I do believe that it will get harder with children, especially when they're young. But as they get older, as they learn 4 or 5, they need to learn to put away their toys. So if they're done, they can put it back in the basket. They don't need to draw on the walls.
Absolutely.
They don't need to leave crayons on the couch like you leave pens on the couch.
Accidentally.
Stuff like that. I think if you stay consistent and you keep up with it, I think they'll learn as they grow up. Obviously, I need to be more relaxed on things like the baby's gonna go to sleep shortly after we eat dinner and we want to play with the baby first, that's fine. But we don't need to leave dishes in the sink for 2 weeks.
Right.
If we have toys out, we need to, if we don't clean up toys the day of, it might be okay, but we don't need to leave toys out for a week. We see some children that we have don't know how to put away toys. And
You mean since Sunday school, the children?
Yeah. And so I do want them to learn to do, but I also don't expect Margaret to do all of that. I think as we learn and grow through this portion of our marriage, we'll just have to learn and grow again when we have children. Obviously we have 3 little ones running around. It's going to be hard to keep everything neat and tidy, but then also we don't need to let it go into a pig's pen. So,
and just think about when we're doing these videos and you're trying to keep a little 1-year-old quiet on your lap and focused on the camera, you're going to love it.
Try to keep the baby. Look at the lens. Don't look away.
Put a little birdie up there.
Make eye contact with the lens.
So, I guess, there's going to be a time for everything. There's different seasons in life that people are in. You have your, when we were both young, and then you have when you're an adult and single, and then you have married, and then you have your stages of life with your kids. You have your baby season, and then your little kid, and then your middle school, and it's going to change each season. And I think how we parent will change. I think we will get better with each one. I think we will be more selfless with each child. And I think we're going to grow. And, you know, there's nothing like having a little child imitating you to make you realize things that you're doing really well and the things that you need to work on yourself.
Yeah, and I hope they imitate me cleaning up.
Okay, you didn't have to add that.
That would be the plan.
I think it will be a learning curve, and we will both figure out along the way how to handle it. We don't know what we're going to do because we haven't been there yet. And you know you're going to see videos along the way for how it's going. So.
All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it's
enlightening to you how we take care of our home.
Yeah, I hope it's a good snippet for you in how we look at something as simple as cleaning and responsibilities and all that, and how different we are as individuals. But together we learn and grow and compromise to make it work. And so, yeah, I have a short list right now of topics I want to cover in this, and hopefully we can make those videos consistent. If you have any other topics or questions you want to ask, leave a comment down below. I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit the like button, give it the thumbs up, smash it.
Hit it hard.
Yeah, whatever that means. If you are new here, I'm glad you're here. And if you haven't subscribed, I hope you do. And I'll see you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye. I would like to put on record that the moment we're done with this video, no one is weed eating, cutting the grass, pressure washing. No one. Rude.